at the pickup, the snap. Been the space, there hasn't been the... Oh, there's a kick off the ground, don't tell me! What a way to hit the lead!
G'day everyone, welcome back to another big edition of Between the Posts. This is the intro, thanks to 9 News, and we're outside here at the Gully Public House and Garden. Springtime is just around the corner, Jad. The Gully are looking after us with a sensational brew this morning. Finals time is near for the men. The women have just wrapped up, but we'll go through all that and more on the show. Jad, what have we got coming up today?
Yeah, so the Division 1 wrap, as well as giving out the Player of the Year award for High Five e-bike. So no division specialist this week, but a special segment to give out that special prize, as well as Beck's wrap of all the grand final winners from the game yesterday. She was there and she saw it all live. She'll wrap that up, and thanks to Beck for all her hard work all year. She does her research late in the night before, and she really smashes it when it comes to all the women's content.
100%, couldn't agree more there, Beck. And marks and goals of the week, coach of the week, and what caught our eye. All that and more on Between the Posts. Next up on Between the Posts, we have your BTR Excavations Division 1 wrap, and I can't wait to break it all down with Jad Gosson. It was round 18 over the weekend of the men's competition, so that's the final round of the regular season. Done and dusted. We'll be in the finals next week, and we can't wait to bring you all of that and more on Filming Footy. Well, no one saw this coming. One of the toughest away trips in Division 1, and it was Sacred Heart who got the job done down at the Nest against Salisbury North. The scores were 8-12-60, plays 21-15, 141. Sacred Heart getting the job done there by the tune of 81 points. Remember the repercussions of this one. Winner plays finals, the other has Mad Monday this week. In the toughest away trip in Division 1, Sacred Heart go marching on. They led at every change in a demolition job of the Hawks. It was 39 points at quarter time, 49 points at half time, 57 at three-quarter time, and they finished 81-point winners. Jad Gosson, what did you see there?
Yeah, first of all, what jumped off the page to me, 0 goals to 6 first quarter. Really started off the game well for Sacred Heart and really put Salisbury North on the back foot in a crucial game that they really wanted to win to make finals. And also, thanks to the commentator notes, some clinical fourth quarter effort, dominated the midfield battle the whole day, and so efficient with ball in hand, and they had so many options up forward to find and to usually use that dynamic attack, and they kicked a massive score because of it. 21 goals to Sacred Heart on the day. And Sacred Heart will play finals. They were one of the favourites earlier in the season. They dropped off a little bit. Now they're in the finals. I think they're going to be scary for any team to come up against.
Yeah, completely agree. After round 7, they were probably the best team in it, in my opinion. And they've had a slide, but they're finding some form at the right time. And with the finals-like weather that we saw yesterday all across Adelaide, it meant no excuses on that big deck of Salisbury North, and Sacred Heart cut them apart with their disposal efficiency. Some of the better players across the day, Carlotto controlled the airways, Darcy Gludius supreme rebounding from defensive 50, Hildyard great running all day on that big deck on the wings, Bo McRae the bone crusher, one of Matty Gale's favourites, courageous and instrumental through the middle of the ground, and Hunter Window, silky smooth prime mover. The goal kickers there, Jad?
Yeah, so we had for Salisbury North starting off with them, Richard with 2, Deacon, Halibert, Hocking, Pierce, Russo and Sharp all with 1. And for Sacred Heart, Gluyas and McCall 5 each, so 2 players, 65 goals is a massive effort.
Just on those two, they're 2 small forwards as well. Yep. So the small forward's going to get dangerous in finals time. Look out for them for Sacred Heart.
Yeah, for sure. Some of the most elite small forwards in the comp. The other goal kickers, Lacornu with 3, Carlotto, Hilliard, McRae with 2, and McDermott and Simmons with 1 each.
Some of the better players across the day for both teams as well. Matty Sharp, Todd Pearce, Costanzo, O'Brien and Bastick for Salisbury North. And for the Shockers, Beau McRae, McAuliffe with 5 and Gluyas with 5, as you touched on. Ethan Moore through the middle of the ground. He's an absolute beast as well. The second game of round 18 saw the Stream team head to Campbelltown Memorial Oval for a mouth-watering contest. I was certainly excited myself personally going down to see that one in real time. So it was a great day all round at Campbelltown. It was Ross Trevor defeating Port Districts at their own game as well. We'll touch on that a little bit. It was 11-9-75, played 7-5-47 to the tune of 28 points there. Port Districts did lead at every main break, but run out of puff against a fast-finishing Ross Trevor. It was 24 points, 14 points at halftime, 2 points at three-quarter time, and Ross Trevor, with a barnstorming finish, run away with it, 28-point winners. Jad, what are some of the things you noticed on the day as well?
Yeah, so 6-1 in the final quarter, and just showed that Ross Trevor probably wanted it more for some reason. They were up and about, they're at home, they're tough to beat there. As well as Ross Trevor they won the territory, they had the clearances in the second half a little bit better there as well. And yeah, cleaned up on the turnovers in the first quarter. There was a note that they turned it over a bit too much, but cleaned that up, and it really was a key to them getting the victory. Yeah,
definitely. Probably due to Port District's pressure as well. Like Ross Trevor did even up the inside 50s in the clearances, which is something that we really focused on from a broadcasting perspective, was to try and paint the picture to the viewer that Port District dominated earlier in the year in all those facets. So Ross Trevor had to clean that up, and they did. But some of their entries were a little bit messy in that first half and did turn it over a bit, and Port District were able to counter from there. The likes of Sharad Haynes, Gaffney and Benny Gould on the outside mopping up. But the second quarter, we thought that it might have come back to bite Ross Trevor. They kicked 2 goals 5 to be down by 14 at half time, and we thought, geez, against Port District, we know how strong they are, how consistent they are in second halves. It could come back to bite them, but it didn't. It was, in the end, it was 11 goals to 3 from quarter time. It was 1 goal each, in each of those quarters for Port District. So Ross Trevor really did beat Port District at their own game, and it was such a tight contest. No side was giving an inch, and at three-quarter time we kind of said it was going to come down to moments, and that's certainly what it did boil down to. Ross Trevor maybe weren't making those count early, missing some regulation set shots, and then there was a couple of moments in the last quarter. Tommy McCormack outbodied his opponent, took a great one-handed mark. Lanzoni running from the wrong side to the boundary, squared up a ball to his teammate, and they were able to convert. So it was just little moments like that which broke the game apart. And so yeah, full congratulations to Ross Trevor. Over the last 5 weeks, we sort of were wondering how they were going to go. They had the toughest run going into finals, and they've certainly delivered 3 wins out of their last 5, and they secure a 4th spot. For Port District, they secure the week off only just, we'll touch on that a little bit later, but they will welcome that with open arms because some of their elder statesmen are tiring, and they did have about 5 out yesterday as well, so they will definitely welcome that week off with open arms.
And plenty of awards, of course, as it was a Stream team game. We'll start off with the best on ground was Xavier Transfer, best team man was McCormack, and the magic moment, Finn Wakeland. He's quite a magic player.
The next game in Division 1, goodness me. Another twist in the tail in the relegation dogfight down the bottom of the ladder. And it was Payneham Norwood Union who come away with the chocolates. They went out to Webb Oval and they got the job done. Scores were 10-13, 73, placed 20 goals 3, 123. Payneham running away, 50-point winners there. They couldn't leave their own destiny to chance. They seized their moment and they secure survival in Division 1. The tail of the tape, Glenunga 15 points at quarter time, so they got out of the blocks really well. And from then on, it was all Payneham Norwood Union. 14 points at half time, 25 at three-quarter time, and 50-point winners. Jad, what's the story of the game, mate?
Yeah, so disappointing last week for Payneham. When I was there, they were home and they lost to Prince Alfred. They really needed to come out here and get the victory to survive, and they did. 7 goals in the second quarter and 7 goals in the fourth quarter. So there's some big quarters there to secure the survival, as well as the accuracy. 20 goals, 3 behinds. Both teams had 23 scoring shots, but a 50-point margin is really something to have a look at.
The goal kickers on the day was Jordan Opperman. He's had a really, really great year for Glenunga. He kicked 4. Abe Davis and Decky Fay with 2. Colling, it was his debut, so congratulations, mate. You got on the score sheet with 1, and so did Ethan Smith. For the goals for Payneham, as we touched on, Mackenzie with a big bag of 7. Tommy Wagner also lurking in the shadows with a big bag of 6. Matty Nye with 3, Nunn with 2, Ansel Christanzig with 1. And who are some of the better players on the day, Jad?
Yeah, so for the better players, Glenunga's first, Wiseman, West, Temi, Opperman and Butterworth. And for Payneham Norwood Union, Nunn, Bauer, Tom Wagner, McKenzie and Hill.
Congratulations, Payneham Norwood Union. We'll see you in Division 1 next year. And the next game of Division 1, we headed out to Caterer Oval for St. Peter's taking on Broadview in what was a very special day in the last round of the season for the Spockos. It was Indigenous round for them and their Guernseys were designed by their star player, Ty Bedford. Matty Gale also did do some great interviews at the Spockos during the week, so make sure you check them out on Filming Footy and Adelaide Footy League socials. And there's also some great footage of Ty Bedford speaking about the design of the Guernsey itself on the Spockos socials on Instagram and Facebook, so make sure you check those out because it's really, really great coverage from all people involved. The tail of the tape on the day, though, was St. Peter's getting a very, very big win and a much-needed win for them. They've been in a little bit of a form slump, Jad, so it's good to see them respond offensively too. They piled on a mammoth 25 goals, 14, 164, plays 6, 7, 43, so it was 121-point winners there for the Spockos in what was a bit of a demolition job in the end. Broadview hung around for a half. They trailed by 32 at half-time, and then it was all Spockos from there. 70 points at three-quarter time, and of course that 20-goal margin at the end. What did you make of this game, Jad?
Yeah, as you mentioned, that second half blitz was something that was focused on in the commentator notes. 17 goals to 3 after half-time, so a bit of a demolition there. The skill different, the uncontested Spock players, they had players running around and spreading the ground all day, and that was really the key to defence. And as for Broadview, disappointing season for them, of course, not being able to find a win, but they'll go down to Division 2, like we've been saying the last few weeks. They'll try and find a level there that they can try and be competitive in, and as we saw in other divisions, once you get relegated, it doesn't matter. You can always find a way back up pretty quick. So, yeah, commiserations to Broadview. They have a great venue down there. Everyone's very nice. They give us lunch at half time. So
yeah, going to miss that.
Definitely a great family club, and they'll be back. They'll be back.
Yeah, I'll certainly echo those thoughts, mate. And seeing them a couple of times this year live, there's a certain way that they're trying to play. And if they can just add a few pieces and get some consistency around their bodies and things like that, they've sort of been struggling with a bit of injury this year as well. There's no reason why we can't see them up either next year or in the next couple of years, and I'm sure, I have no doubt that they'll be competitive. And the better players on the day for both sides, Ty Bedford, in a special day for him, it was great to see him stand up as well and really perform. He was best on ground for the Spockos. Nick Michaels, Ian Ello, Weeks and Stuart Rattray. For Broadview, O'Leary, Mulherron, Wilson, Kobe Wilson as well, and Jaden Ryan. And the final game of Division 1 in round 18 was the Golden Grove Kookaburras heading to Park 9 to play Prince Alfred in what was a do-or-die clash for Prince Alfred. And unfortunately, they didn't quite show up the way that they would have liked to on such a big day for them. The scores were 6-6-42, plays 21-14, 140, Golden Grove winning by 98 points there. The Kookaburras march into September very nearly into top spot, nevertheless second. A home qualifying final off the back of 11 wins in a row, sending Prince Alfred packing down to Division 2 in the process. It was Golden Grove by 19 at quarter time, 49 at half time, 78 at three-quarter time, and 98 points to finish. I'll hand the floor over to the man who was there calling the game, Judd Gosson. What did you make of the game and the day as a whole?
Yeah, so we'll start off with the negatives. Unfortunately for Prince Alfred, they were there looking for a win. They probably knew a win wasn't possible and then kept their eye on the results at the Payneham, and Payneham got the job done, so congrats to them. But yeah, for Prince Alfred, finished 9, relegated Division 2. They beat Glenunga to jump, because of Payneham beating Glenunga, I should say. Prince Alfred won last week against Payneham to keep the season alive. They had one extra round to try and survive, but in the end, could not do it. It's good that their coach is locked in for next year, so Ned McHenry is going to be there for Division 2 next season, and they have a good junior program coming in. We're speaking about that as well off air, that they have plenty of juniors coming through. I'm sure they'll be fine in Division 2. But as for the team that really dominated that game was Golden Grove by 98 points, as you mentioned. They're just too good and they're ready for finals. They nearly finished on top. The percentage gap closed a lot because of the 90.8 margin and Port District losing, but not quite to be, so they will have to play next week. Still on top of their game despite the margin. Just on
the defenders as well. Good to see them actually staying in their positions. A few weeks ago, they were all sneaking forward and trying to get in on the act. So good job for holding your structures there. I'm looking at you, Mitch Payne.
Yes, for sure. The other thing I noticed quickly, so second quarter was 1 goal to 5 and third quarter 2 goals to 7. So 3 goals to 12 in that middle part of the match really summed up the difference between them. And some of the way they play Golden Grove, I'm sure it's not going to be a surprise to many people watching. They use the wings well. They switch the ball with immense accuracy and effectiveness and to generate many of their attacks. And also, as I mentioned, selflessness in attack. Many times they get the ball in a very hard, tight angle. you'd forgive him having a shot, but instead they look for a pass or they centre the ball to someone in a better position.
Question off the cuff, how did they look without Josh Glenn? Obviously some news through the week with his suspension sort of rocked the club and the league as a whole. He's going to miss, it looks like to be the whole final series. So how do you think they're going to go without him, and how did they look yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday they looked okay. Obviously the level of competition is not the same as the finals, and in finals is a little bit of a different game. You need that kind of X-factor player. So it'll be interesting to see how they go without him there. But they have plenty of options. As I said, they had multiple goal kickers come through. Not just Pascoe with his 7, but there was a few others that stepped up to the plate, and so it'll be interesting. I think they should be okay without him. Obviously, it's still a big loss. They'll prefer to have him out there, obviously. But yeah, they have plenty of options that they can try and use instead, and they've got a good structure and a good team. They've won 11 in a row, and you don't do that by accident. It's not a one-person game, so I'm sure they'll find a way to cover for him. I
love it. Great calls. We'll touch on the goal kickers now. For PAC, Garrels with 3, James Bentley with 2. He's had a pretty consistent year down in the forward line for the Princes, and Tom Sells with 1. For Golden Grove, quick shout out here to Lenny Pascoe, another big bag of 7. He's played all 18 games. 15 out of those 18 he's kicked 3 or more. The other 3 games you ask, well, he's kicked 2 goals in each of those. So he doesn't go goalless and he doesn't get singles. He only deals in multiples, big Lenny Pascoe. Cavallaro and Collins with 3. My little brother Jed, goal a game, 2 goals. McKelvey and Verity also with 2. Horskins and Slater with 1. Slater was absolutely dominant, as you said in your commentator's notes there, mates. And some of the better players on the day, Clark, Pitt, McInnes, Slade and Neal for the Princes. And for Golden Grove, Cavallaro, Mitch Slater, Jake Pittman, Lamb Simon and Mitch McKelvey. So congratulations, Golden Grove. We'll see you next week for finals action. Alrighty, with all that said and done, it's time to take a deep dive into the ladder and see how Division 1 fared across the whole competition. And boy, it's close at the top, and it was close at the bottom as well. Straight from the top, Port District, they just hung on to top spot. 28 points, 14 wins, 4 losses. Golden Grove also on 28 points. They only trailed by 0.41%, so they nearly got top spot, but that's okay. They'll continue their momentum into next week. St. Peter's, 25 points, 56%. Ross Trevor and Sacred Heart locked away on 24%, but Ross Trevor's percentage is superior, and so that means Sacred Heart will venture to Ross Trevor in elimination final next week. Salisbury North going down, missed out on their chance to play finals in their first year back in Division 1. Glenunga in 7th on 12 points, in no man's land there. We've known that for a little while now, and this is where the final twist in the tale took place down the bottom. Payneham leapfrogged Prince Alfred into 8th and avoiding the relegation zone, and unfortunately for Prince Alfred, they are in Division 2 next year with Broadview. Jad, is there anything that sticks off the page there for you?
Yeah, so obviously for me, again, being at those games the last few weeks, but Payneham getting the final day win, it's a really drama-filled game for them, and that's what you love about the round 18 fixtures. It can provide lots of interesting stories, and the other one is obviously Sacred Heart getting the victory, and as we touched on in our wrap, they had such a good opening to the season. They look like flag favourites, and then just sneaking into the finals will be interesting to see how they use that as motivation.
Definitely. One thing that jumps off the page for me, Golden Grove, best offence in the comp. Port District, best defence. Ross Trevor in 4th have the 2nd best defence, so they've been very, very resilient, and that was evident yesterday and a couple of weeks ago when I saw Ross Trevor in the flesh as well. And their offence is starting to click as well. We've seen that probably since the turn for home. They piled on some big scores against some of the lower teams, and it was good to see them put on a good score yesterday against Port. Spocko's in 5th. We haven't really spoken much about St. Peter's in the last few weeks, obviously with their little bit of a form slump. They've had 5 losses there in the draw. Just off the top of my head, I think 3 or even 4 of those losses are by a kick or 2. So they are right around the mark. I only saw one key player out of their team yesterday, and that was Henry Nelligan. So with Josh Glenn out for Golden Grove, one key out for each of those teams, I think it's going to be an even ball game coming into this weekend. And the last thing that jumps off the page at me, I had to do some digging to find this one, but there is a 4-point difference between 1st and 5th, and we have not seen a closer season in Division 1. My technological investigation skills could only go back all the way to 2015. So since then, we have not seen a closer season in Division 1. That is just how tight this competition is at the pointy end. So It makes for fantastic viewing. It means everyone from first all the way through to fifth. Sacred Heart have beaten Port District this year. Ross Trevor beat Port District on the weekend. St. Peter's beat Golden Grove earlier in the year, so it is all for keeps in the BTR Excavations Division 1 final series, and we can't wait to bring you all that action as the weeks unfold. And now, Jad, that brings us into our finals preview. The first game off the top is Golden Grove taking on St. Peter's at Harpers Field. Your first qualifying final sees the dominant Golden Grove host St. Peter's at Harpers Field. St. Peter's had second spot locked away for the majority of the season before a slight dip in form saw them drop to third. And for Golden Grove, they've stormed into second spot. They haven't lost a game in 85 days. So it makes for an interesting viewing come this weekend, and they're one apiece in their matchups across the year. What are your thoughts heading into that one, Jad?
Yeah, for sure. I'm tempted to go back and watch those matches. One apiece is interesting to see going into a match of this high caliber, and it's going to be, good to see Golden Grove, how they go with the home field advantage. It probably wasn't looking like home field advantage till the second half of the season. They've done really well to get in that spot, and of course both have a second chance, so even if they lose they can rebound and try and find a win later in the season. But yeah, Golden Grove nearly sneaked in first, so nearly didn't have to play this game, but I think it's good. They've won 11 in a row. They'll keep that momentum going. I'll pick Golden Grove if we're doing our tips, but St. Peter's will be up for it for sure.
I'm going to tip Golden Grove as well. It would have been interesting actually to see if Golden Grove did pip first and Port District play off in a qualifying final. With some of their outs yesterday, there's some sore bodies down at Port District, so they'll be very stoked to have the week off this week. Yeah. But both sides are looking to find ways to win without some key personnel, and this fits the billing for a finals classic. So make sure you get tuned into that one on the weekend on Filming Footy. And the second game is the elimination final back at Campbelltown Memorial Oval. The stream team will be back there, and it's Ross Trevor taking on Sacred Heart. This shapes up to be a mouth-watering elimination final. It was only a few weeks ago where Ross Trevor did the dishes on Sacred Heart, so they'll be out for revenge, Sacred Heart.
Yeah, on paper, if you look at Ross Trevor and Sacred Heart and their 2025 season, you wouldn't be surprised if either of these teams finished in the top two, let alone where they have finished. So it just shows how evenly matched this competition is. And Ross Trevor, very professional for a while now. We spoke about their good form. Sacred Heart know how to win. They were, as you have in your notes here, 11 weeks ago they were the best team in Division 1, and now they sneak into the final. So they're going to be up for it, and also they're going to be they'll want to prove everyone wrong that their fifth spot on the ladder is actually not where they belong. So one of these teams is going to be very unlucky to get out of the competition and have a bad Monday, as you mentioned. So it's going to be very interesting. I don't even know who to tip for this one, but the stream team will be there. I'll be joining you guys on the stream team this week. I'll be on the boundary, so looking forward to that. Do you want me to give a tip?
Yeah, go on, give a tip.
Oh, I actually have no idea what to pick. I'm tempted just to say Ross Trevor because they're home, but I could see it going every way. So I'll pick Ross Trevor.
For Ross Trevor, it was we're wondering how long it would take for them to be a force in Division 1, and I just think we're seeing something special take place right before our very eyes. It's going to be hot in the kitchen with both sides playing tough contested brand of footy and a defensive counter punch. The winner moves on and the loser goes home, and I'm tipping Ross Trevor are going to go home. Probably due to my ego that I tipped Sacred Heart to win it all at the start of the year. So they're finding form, and I think they can get the job done, and I'm going to upset a few Ross Trevor people who have been giving the stream team a lot of love in the last few weeks with some of the work that we do. So apologies there, but we can't wait to be there on the weekend and bring you all the action on Filming Footy. Alrighty, footy fans, it's time for a very, very special segment. And if you've had a keen eye on Between the Posts the last few weeks in the Division 1 wrap, you might have noticed that we haven't been giving out the 3-2-1s for the High Five e-bike Player of the Year votes. That's because we're going to reveal it now. We gave you an updated leaderboard after round 15, and so for the remaining 3 rounds, we're now going to read out the votes and reveal your High Five e-bike Player of the Year, where they will take home an e-bike valued at around $5,000, and we're also going to be catching up with them for a chat and an interview live in store, so you're going to have to tune in for the rest of this segment to find out. But for round 16, Jad Gosson, take it away.
Yes, so we'll start off with St. Peter's versus Salisbury North. Jordan O'Brien, 1 vote. Charlie Allen, 2 votes. And Maliki Carruthers, 3 votes. For Broadview versus Payneham Norwood Union, Mackenzie Bauer, 1 vote. Maddie Nunn, 2 votes. And Harrison Viney, all 3. Sacred Heart versus Ross Trevor, Elliot Murada, 1 vote. Darcy Best, 2. And Xavier Transfer with the 3. For Port District versus Prince Alfred Old Collegians, Jordan Derizzi, 1 vote, Miller Carter 2, and Joey Haynes with the 3 votes. And Golden Grove versus Glenunga, Dylan Pilkington 1, Jay Pittman 2 votes, and Aidan Thatcher with the 3 votes for that match.
Round 17, Glenunga taking on Broadview. Tyron Hill, 1 vote. 2 votes, Abe Davis. Declan Fay, 3 votes. Paynham versus Prince Alfred. James Bentley, 1 vote. Jordan Neal, 2 votes. Will Schmidt, 3 votes. Port District taking on Salisbury North. 1 vote, Sam Gray. 2 votes, Jay Haynes. 3 votes, S. Lysette. Sacred Heart taking on St. Peter's. 1 vote, Ben Ianello. 2 votes, Charlie Hildyard. 3 votes, Henry McAuliffe. Golden Grove taking on Ross Trevor. 1 vote, J. Wharton. 2 votes, C. Shenton. 3 votes, J. Pittman.
And for round 18, the final round of the season, Glenunga versus Paynham Nord Union. 1 vote, Brad McKenzie. 2 for Tommy Wagner, and 3 for M. Nunn. And for Sacred Heart versus Salisbury North, Darcy Gluias with the 1, Hunter Window with the 2, and 3 votes to Beau McRae. St. Peter's versus Broadview. 1 to Henry Stewart Rattray, 2 for Johnny Reid, and 3 for Ty Bedford. Prince Alfred Old Collegians versus Golden Grove. 1 M. Cavallaro, 2 J. Pittman, and 3 Mitchell Slater. And Ross Trevor versus Port District, it's going to be 1 for Connor Butcher, 2 J. Haynes, and 3 for Xavier Transfer.
And with all that said and done, your High Five e-bike Player of the Year is Jake Pittman from the Golden Grove Kookaburras with a grand total of 25 points. He can just add the High Five e-bike Player of the Year to his resume, a 2 or 3 time association best and fairest, and I've lost count of how many times he's won a best and fairest for Golden Grove, so this is just another feather in your cap there, Pitty. And the rest of the votes, and in second place, we have a 3-way tie in the High Five e-bike Player of the Year. For Salisbury North, Jordan O'Brien on 18 votes, Malachy Carruthers from St. Peter's on 18, and Joey Haynes from Port District also on 18. Who are some of the other players in that leaderboard there, Jad?
Yeah, so those 3 were on 18 points. The players on 17 points, so a very close leaderboard. Lockie Pascoe, highest goal kicker of the season, gets in the votes as well a lot on 17 points from Golden Grove. And the other one, Scotty Lysette on 17 points as well from Port District.
And a massive congratulations to you, Jake Pittman. You are our High Five e-bike Player of the Year. Make sure you stick around later on in this segment. We'll be catching up with a chat down at High Five e-bikes with Jamal and Pitty, and we can go through his flash new bike. And once again, Jake Pittman, you are our High Five e-bike Player of the Year.
Do you belong in a role that drives you? In a community that makes you proud? In a team that brings out your best? You belong in blue. Apply for a career with South Australia Police.
Well, it was a massive day of footy on Saturday at St Mary's. We had the remaining 4 grand finals that were all one and done. So it's season over for 2025 in the women's leagues. Can you believe it? So it's time for one last women's wrap to celebrate our remaining premiers. And we will start where the day began in Division 6, where Seaton Ramblers and Tea Tree Gully faced off. Now, they were the 2 best teams all year in Div 6, and it really showed. There were great skills on display all day. So congrats to our premiers, the Seaton Ramblers. Seaton 4-1-25 defeated Tea Tree Gully 2-5-17, so an 8-point victory to the Ramblers. Seaton's goals came from Fitzgerald, Grierson, Walsh and Spratt, and for Tea Tree Gully, their goals came from Phillips and Bond. Now, best on for the day was Kate Walsh, and she was absolutely huge for Seaton. Myself and Phil called it before the umpires did. We thought, it has to be Kate Walsh with the best on here. She was elite in the ruck all day, and then when she wasn't rucking, she set herself up behind the ball and was just an absolute brick wall, taking intercept mark after intercept mark. I had a great chat to her after the game, and she was just a well-deserved winner, a real family person from the club of the Seton Ramblers. And yeah, she played an awesome game. So congrats to Kate and the Ramblers, of course. Now, Seton were probably the favourites going in. They were definitely in the best form, and the game started really strong with a goal each to Seton and Tea Tree Gully. At quarter time, Seton were ahead by 4 points. They stayed ahead and were up by 2 at half time. They were up by 8 at 3/4 time and ended with the win by 8 points. And we talked about it a bit on the day, but I absolutely just love the story of the Seton Ramblers team this year. Now, this was a group of girls from all different clubs. They come from all different places, all different footy backgrounds, and they were just looking for a club to play at where they could come together. And they found the Seton Ramblers, who said, yes, we'll absolutely have you to start this brand new team. Yes, that's right. It is their first ever season in the Adelaide Footy League. First season playing all together, and now they are premiers in that first season. Absolutely iconic. I also got the chance to meet Barry Murphy, their coach, before the game as well, and he was an absolute legend. He took me all through their change rooms, talked to me about how their season had been going. They had it set up with photos everywhere, memories of their season. It was just such a great vibe. So congrats to Barry, and congrats to the awesome girls from the Seton Ramblers, our Division 6 premiers. Now we'll take a look at Division 2, and our premiers are Anglevale, who go back-to-back after defeating Tea Tree Gully by 23 points. Anglevale 7-4-46, defeating Tea Tree Gully 3-5-23. And so after taking out the Division 3 grand final last year, the Hooters go back-to-back. And after a strong undefeated minor round season, they actually lost the first final by 1 point to Tea Tree Gully. Well, Anglevale obviously had that front of mind because they came out absolutely firing. They kicked 3 goals in the first term, and it just felt like Anglevale were very much in control all game. They got on top early, as I said, with that scoring and just never stopped. Now, despite how the score does look, Tea Tree Gully were ultra competitive. They had some great passages of play, but Anglevale were just ready for anything that Tea Tree Gully threw at them, and Tea Tree Gully could not get the scoreboard pressure on, whereas Anglevale could really finish off their plays with strong goals. And I have to give a lot of credit to the Anglevale defence as well, as they were really awesome under pressure. So any entries that came in for Tea Tree Gully, they were getting it out of there straight away. So after a really solid season, it's a well-deserved win to Anglevale. So we'll have a look at what happened on the scoreboard. Well, the goals for Anglevale came from 2 to Moritz, 2 to McIver, and Clapton, Farrelly and Pavlovich all kicked a goal each as well. For Tea Tree Gully, their goals came from Anderson, Jaffa and Summer Nelson. Now, the best on for the day was Charlotte Moritz, and she was absolutely electric. She kicked 2 goals, and she just was killing it all day. She was really great in the contest and just showed so much talent. Now, she played in both grand finals as well, so she is a back-to-back premiership player as well. When I spoke to her after the game, she talked about how much she loves the culture of Anglevale. All the girls there, they really get around each other. And of course, they love Britt Perry, their coach, and she plays as well, of course, who really manages to inspire the girls, get them all around each other, get them together. Though I have to say, my highlight of the day came from Ruby Allen. If you know, you know. Now, I am very, very 100% sure that Anglevale celebrated long into the night. So I hope that they're actually still out partying, because you don't win a premiership very often, and you know what? You don't go back to back very often either. So congrats to Britt Perry and the Anglevale girls. We'll now have a look at the Division 1 reserves, where Goodwood 5-7-37 defeated Henley 2-8-20. So congrats to the Goodwood Saints premiers. They won by 17 points. Now, for the Saints, their goal kickers were Borgas, MacArthur, Payne, Wilkie and Wilkinson. For Henley, goals came from Cooper and Hawkins, and best on was Brianna Pullen. Now, this game, it took a little bit to get started. It was very back and forth, not a lot going on the scoreboard, very competitive, no real advantage to either side. At quarter time, the score was just 3-2 to the advantage of the Saints. So it was a real kind of deadlock, no one able to break through and score. Things got cooking in the second quarter. The Saints got up 16-15 at half time. And then Goodwood, they just really kicked into gear, got up by 10 points at 3/4 time and finished strong to be the winners. And yeah, they just looked like they really got on top in that last half. And what I really enjoyed about this game as well is there was awesome support from both sides. If you tuned into the stream, you would have seen there was a shark there for the Henley Sharks getting around the girls, and there was so many fans there from both sides. You can see in the huddles at every break, there was just so many people getting around their team. And then as soon as the Saints won, I've never seen so many people run onto the field. It was so awesome. I'm really happy for the Goodwood Saints to see that success in the Division 1 reserves. We know they haven't been able to kind of, break through in the Division 1 ranks, but I think maybe this will, really inspire them to kind of rise up in that A-grade competition. And we know they've got a really strong junior program for women, for girls at the Goodwood Saints. So I think there's plenty more to come from Goody. Now, we have to say as well, congrats to the coach, Maria Sharp, and all of the girls there at Goodwood Saints. And they had so much support. They're really good volunteer representation and everything like that. So our Division 1 premiers are the Goodwood Saints. And finally, here we go. Congratulations to our Division 1 premiers, Morphettville Park. Morphies 5-3-33 defeated Payneham 3-5-23 to be 10-point winners. And what an absolute game it was. And it seems like a real cliche to say this, but it was truly, truly a game of two halves, because believe it or not, Morphettville Park, there are premiers, as I just said, they went scoreless in the first term and trailed by 16 points at half time. And it really looked headed for a Payneham back-to-back victory. Payneham were absolutely dominating the contest and they weren't giving an inch. They were tackling, they were absolutely fighting for every single ball. Then at half time, well, the Roos, they reflected and basically said to each other, we've got to get it together here. They really rallied, including, some inspiring words from their coach, Scotty, and as well, they had Andrew McLeod there as well to give him a bit of a rev up. And boy, did a different team come out after halftime. They put on so much pressure. They absolutely lifted, and like you could just feel the shift. Everything was with Payneham in the first half, and you just felt things slowly start to tip in favour of the Roos. Myself and Phil and Tegan Dunbar, we were just watching it happen in front of our eyes as all the momentum sort of started to fall the way of Morphettville Park. And they really, I think, got some belief behind them. And then we saw the little cracks start to form. They were putting so much pressure on Morphettville Park. They started to make mistakes. They were missing kicks, missing marks that they'd really been hitting in the first half. And incredibly, Morphettville Park held Payneham scoreless in the second half. So they absolutely got the job done. So Morphettville Park, this is a team that's obviously, an icon of the Division 1 competition, that they've won premiership after premiership. They've been in the finals multiple times. But they did miss the finals last season, and when I was speaking to their coach, Scotty, she said, that was a real motivator for them to get back into finals and make an impact. And this season, well, it probably didn't start the way that they would have planned. They did go 0-2 to start the season, and it had a little bit of ups and downs during the season, and they actually did finish third. But all the way from third, they have become premiers. They had not beat Payneham all season, just absolutely drilled down and got it done. So let's have a look at the scoreboard. Morphettville Park, Big, Huppets, Kraft, Speechley and Swanson, they all kicked goals, and they had an absolute impact, especially I think the one from Kraft, she took a really great mark, put one through for a goal. For Payneham, we saw two awesome goals from Chelsea Packer and one from Adrian Davies, but unfortunately they just could not put the score on in that second half. Now, our best on was Gianna Zarella, Jay-Z. It's her first season out at Morphettville Park, and she absolutely thrived. When I spoke to her, she said she really enjoyed the team, how all the girls got around each other, and just got a chance to really have some fun playing local footy this season. And yeah, she's had a great season, topped it off with a flag and a best on ground. What I noticed about Morphettville Park, well, they just didn't give up. And, some other teams, at halftime being down by that much, they would have thought, that's it, it can't be done. But they just really ground it out to get that win. For Payneham, when we have a look at what happened there, well, in the first half, quite honestly, they looked unstoppable. But what may have been the killer is they did miss some shots on goal. And despite, really dominating possession, dominating the contest, they probably didn't capitalise as much as they should have. And to be honest, I think they could have put it really beyond doubt on the scoreboard in the first half. Just put on a lot more goals, made it a lot more difficult for Morphettville Park. But it just didn't quite fall that way. The score wasn't there that they needed in the second half, but there were some really good highlights from their plays in the first half. I thought Abby Claby was absolutely huge. She played throughout the midfield. She ran all day. She was getting a lot of attention from Morphettville Park, being the player that she is, but she just kept fighting all day. Their captain, Jess Meachin, in defence, she was absolutely rock solid back there. She pushed up the ground, took some great marks, was able to rebound really well. But as I said, if you're not scoring in the second half in a grand final, it's probably not going to happen. So our premiers, Morphettville Park, well done. And of course, as always, they had a cast of thousands down there supporting them. The Roo Army, just the absolute wave of red and yellow as soon as the siren went. I hate to think what the Morphettville Park club rooms look like right now, because that party would have been going on all night. But it was just an epic day of grand finals at St Mary's Park. These are my favourite days of the year. You finally get to see everyone who's worked so hard all year to get to the grand finals in action. And I have to say thank you to all the people that come up and said hi. We watch your raps every week. It was really nice to see. We film this pretty early on a Sunday morning, and sometimes it can be pretty tricky to get out of bed and do it. But when you hear from people, we love watching you talk about women's footy. We like the show. It honestly makes it all worth it. So thank you so much, and thanks to everyone who supports women's footy and watches Between the Posts every week. And sadly, this is it. This is our last women's wrap for the season. So thanks again to everyone who's tuned in. Congrats again to our remaining premiers, Seaton, Anglevale, Goodwood and Morphettville Park. And of course, I have to say thanks to my bestie Darcy, who's behind the camera, been making me look good every single week. I can't wait to see what's in store for women's footy in the Adelaide Footy League in 2026.
Next up on Between the Posts, and this one's for the coaches. We know they love this segment. It's your Farmers Leap Coach of the Week. And it's hard to go past your reigning premier of Division 1, Port District, and their coach, Josh Ramsey, who, once again, are top of the pile. We know how hard it is to go back-to-back in Division 1. You'll have to go all the way back to 2014-15 to find a team go back-to-back. And Port District are well poised to do that. As I touched on, they're top of the ladder thanks to their well-drilled and well-oiled machine of players out on the field. He's a two-time premiership coach, a great man, a great supporter of all the work that we do in the media department. So thank you very much, Josh Ramsey, and congratulations to you. You are our Farmers Leap Coach of the Week. Welcome everyone to 202 Flinders Street in the city. We are here at High Five E-Bikes and we are here to award the winner of the High Five E-Bikes Player of the Year as voted by each of the commentators in Division 1. It's going to Jake Pittman of the Golden Grove Football Club. He's had a sensational year and we can't wait to head inside and check out his great prize thanks to High Five E-Bikes. G'day footy fans, down here at the home of High Five E-Bikes in the city at 202 Flinders Street. Thanks to the lovely owner Jamal, and we are here with an amateur league football first. Thanks to High Five E-Bikes, the commentators have given 3-2-1 votes each and every game, and we are here with the runaway leader, Jake Pittman of the Golden Grove Kookaburras. He won with 25 votes, the next best was 18, so a clear standout in the commentators' eyes, and we've got him here today with his prize. Pitty, how you doing, mate?
Not bad yourself.
Dusty after last night, mate, after a big win, or?
Oh, not too bad. Had work last night, so couldn't get too crazy. But yeah, it's good. We're playing some good footy at the moment, and hopefully we can carry that into finals.
You have many accolades, personal accolades to your name, not to mention the numerous flags that you've won for the boroughs. But just where does this winning of the awards stand in those list of accolades that you've got? I reckon it'd be pretty high up there.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a pretty cool bike, so you know, once we leave here, I'll be able to ride it around and it'll be great. So, no, I'm pretty excited and pumped about it. Where
is the first place you reckon you'll take it for a spin?
Oh, I'll probably just around the park near my house, so we'll see how it goes and hopefully get some top speed up and it'll be good.
What about maybe after a few Friday Arvo cold ones at the Grove Tav maybe?
Yeah, be able to get
Might
home
get it
nicely.
worked out.
Be able to get home nicely and not have to worry about the cops, eh?
Who do you reckon out of one of your teammates, or maybe there's a few, will they be lining up to get a dinky ride on the back of this thing?
Oh, I reckon Connor Hillcoat just did his ACL, so he might be able to hop on there and move around and help that knee out of his.
No, very good. So yeah, you guys finished second on the field. How are you guys tracking heading into finals time?
Yeah, we're looking good. You know, we struggled early, but you know, as the season progressed, we started getting a bit of cohesion and stuff like that. So we're coming in with some good form. I think we've won 10 or 11 in a row, so hopefully we can...
11.
11, far out, yeah. So hopefully we can take that into the finals, you know, and give the finals run a hot crack.
One of the Adelaide Footy League media team, we won't mention his name, actually we will, Lockie Gould, he put a line through you guys at the June long weekend break, but I stuck fat and you guys are flying now. Do you have any words for Lockie?
People have opinions of what they want to say and, you know, hopefully we can prove him wrong, but it's good.
Mate, sensational year. It's been absolutely no surprise. The commentators love you with your head in and under, getting the pill each and every single week. We'll hand you over to Jamal. We'll be able to go through the bike and then we'll be able to take it for a spin. How's that sound?
Perfect, sounds great.
Hello Jake, how are you today?
Jamal, nice to meet you.
Wonderful to have you here. Jake, congratulations on being the best player of this season.
Thank you very much.
And a huge congratulations on winning this beautiful Voltario e-bike, the Leopard 2.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful bike. I'm pretty excited to get my hands on it.
I tell you, this is a beautiful ride to have. This comes as a road legal bike. It comes with a twist throttle and you've got here spare to have your belongings. This bike is really wonderful to own. And again, congratulations on winning that.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Thank you. Again, congratulations to you, Jake, on winning the best player of the year. And I want to say congratulations to you guys. 10% off on the Voltario e-bikes. You just come here to High Five e-bikes, to Flinders Street. Bike lane is available for test ride. You hook, guys. Everybody's welcome.
right, footy fans, it's time for one of your favourite segments. It's What Caught Our Eye. Did you just see a god?
Seemed like a god, yeah. A god on a bike.
Definitely a god. We'll start off in Division 7. What caught your eye in round 18, Jad?
Yeah, so Division 7, 2 big results. Brahma Lodge beating Central United to clinch second spot, and they'll now rematch in the qualifying final next week. And Flinders Uni upset against Mawson Lakes means Mitchell Park make the finals. So very interesting there. Flinders Uni winning against Mawson Lakes in a bit of an upset, and Mitchell Park wins, so they sneak into the finals.
It's been well documented on What Caught Our Eye, the resurgence of Elizabeth, and they are the only undefeated team in the men's side of the Adelaide Footy League. So a massive congratulations to the Elizabeth Eagles in Division 6.
Yeah, so looking at the goal kickers, Dion Doolan, 15 goals in the final round against West Corridor, moves him to the first position on the goal kicking tally, and this goal kicking tally is something lovely to watch. So first was Dion Doolan with 96 goals over the season, Trevor Rigney in second with 89 goals, and Daniel Weecher with 79 goals.
Ingle Farm secured third place with a fantastic away win at Rosewater, should I say. Rosewater also in the 5, so it's a very tough matchup, and great work there for Ingle Farm in Division 5.
Yeah, so Woodville South and Pulteney needed to win to guarantee finals. They could have made it finals without a win either way, but they controlled their future both only just. So Woodville winning by 3 points and Pulteney by 17, so some really close matches there, and finals on the way for those two teams.
Cheer, cheer, the black and the white. They've avoided relegation. My old mob Salisbury with a great win away to Trinity. And also in Division 5, 3 games were decided by single digits. So it just shows how tight that competition is, and I can't wait to follow the finals action in Division 5. In Division 4, please.
Yeah, so if Mitcham won, they would have got into the finals, but they lost in a bit of a mini upset, I'd say, to Christian Brothers College Old Collegians by 11 points. So because of that, Colonel Lion Gardens lose by 79 and still make the finals.
Yeah, there was only a 0.4 percentage gap in there. I had something similar, so good on Colonel Light. Both of them didn't really want to play finals by the looks of it on the weekend.
Yeah.
They left it to chance, but congrats to Colonel Light. Div 3.
Yeah, so Foss Camden giving Westminster only their second loss for the season, and that was by 1 point to sneak into finals. They needed a win against top of the ladder, and they did by only 1 point, so crazy result there.
Jake Sutcliffe kicked another big bag for Unley. He kicked 11 last week, 8 on the weekend, and they loom as Westminster's greatest threat. That's for Unley Mercedes Jets.
For Division 2,
yes,
Teacher Gully, 85-point win over their rivals there, and that gave him the percentage needed to jump into first spot. A crazy result there, clinching first place by only 0.48%.
Yeah, just touching on from last week, the Division 2 wrap with Tim Pillion was fantastic and gave us a really great preview of what round 18 could deliver, and it did deliver. Flinders upset Goodwood. They finished in the 5, Flinders Park. Brighton defeated Henley by 5 points, but thankfully for Henley, with Goodwood losing, it didn't affect their ladder position, and they still have a double chance to the Sharks. And finally, for Division 1. Yeah,
Division 1, Payneham win. They survive. Prince Alfred relegated because of that. And some crazy results there in the ladder of the Division 1, and Sacred Heart beating Salisbury North to secure finals. So 2 massive results that really made a big difference to the ladder.
Yeah, you touched on the relegation roller coaster and the final flip in the 5. Make sure you check out the Division 1 wrap for all that and more on Between the Posts. These are your Marks of the Week, thanks to Born to Build. And remember, the winner of Mark of the Year wins a 3-night stay at Moonlight Bay Suites, thanks to Kimberley Resorts up in Broome. So if you've taken a nice hanger, make sure you send it in to Darcy at Filming Footy and get voting on the Facebook page. But for now, these are your Marks of the Week.
Salisbury North definitely can't afford to let one more get through here for Sacred Heart. Margin is already a whopping 56 points. Oh, great mark over the top. That's a beauty. 56 points. Oh, great mark over the top. That's a beauty.
Next up on Between the Posts, it's your goals of the week, thanks to Police Credit Union. And remember, there's a prize pool of $3,000 for the winner of Goal of the Year. It's made up of $1,500 prize money to the winner of Goal of the Year, $1,000 to their club, and $500 to the rest of the playing group and coaching staff for breakthrough mental health training. So make sure you get your nominations into Darcy at Filming Footy and vote on the Facebook page. But for now, here are your goals of the week.
Takes off, is he in trouble? Gets the kick under, way, oh, big pack, round the corner. Big pack, round the corner.
Sunny day, there's not a single bounce in sight this game so far.
Even when there's been the space, there hasn't been the... Oh, there's a kick off the ground, don't tell me! When there's been the space, there hasn't been the... Oh, there's a kick off the ground, don't tell me! What a way to hit the lead!
And last but not least, it is the last word, thanks to SAPOL and thanks to the Gully Public House and Garden, where we've filmed here over the last couple of weeks and earlier on in the season, and we'll be back here come finals time. It's a perfect setting, it's almost spring, finals time is just around the corner, and we're set out here in the beer garden. There was great go-go juice for us this morning for our early morning filming session here, Jad. We've got some milestones as well to rattle off, so why don't we get through it?
Yeah, one of the favourite parts of the segment for myself. We'll start off with a big one. Dan Hussey from Godingo, 300 games. So congrats to Dan.
Ricky Thomas at Salisbury North, 250 games. Congratulations there, great man.
Brad Batten from Paraka, 200 games there.
Shout out to Brad Batten as well, part of the Tommy Javor Footy Factory, so he will love that. Sam Bruin from Sacred Heart, 100 games.
Andre Leonello from Salisbury, 150 games.
He's been a very great veteran of the Salisbury Footy Club as well, Andre, so congratulations there, mate. Ed Loken, 100 games from St. Peter's. And last but not least, we have a very, very special milestone. This dates back to 1969. Yes, 1969. My parents were 2 years old. David Bales umpired his 1,000th game on the weekend in the Division 6 Women's Grand Final. So, round of applause to you, great man. And we've just heard that it's your second round of 1,000 games umpiring. So 1,000 games in the Adelaide Footy League. And he's also umpired 1,000 games in other competitions. So I just almost can't wrap my head around that, but that is extraordinary. That's all we've got time for here on Between the Posts. As we touched on, springtime is just around the corner, and that means finals time is just around the corner, and we can't wait to bring you all the action right here on Between the Posts.